Get well hell to follow either friends and family.
It's party time, let's go!
Yes, you left your own delight. Now you're back to enjoy the rest of the night. And it is such a good sight. You waited and waited for so long for this day to come. Now that we together, we can party on forever. It's amazing. Life is worth living. I guess I know how you feel. All the fun you want me to lady. Let's start this party and come let we dance. Get on, take over the floor. No, no, you can't go. We need some more. More of your thrilling. We need some more. More of your dancing. Give me some more. Oh yeah.
Give it up, let it go.
Party can't stop. No, 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 no.
Party time!
Oh yeah. You're the life of the party now, and you've got everybody on the feet. And so you can't retreat. But it's over an hour, and I know that you want to recover. Yes, you can take a break, but when it's over, just remember I'll be waiting to start the party. The night is full of excitement. Let's all enjoy the moment. Lady, light up the party. Come let we dance. Get on, take over the floor. No, no, we can't go. We need some more. More of your thrilling. We need some more. More of your dancing. We need some more. More of that sweet, sweet move. Long time I've not had such fun all night. You are the reason the party is tight. So much of action, filled with attraction. The party is hot and no one wants to stop. Come let we dance. Get on, take over the floor. No, no, they can't go. We need some more. More of your thrilling. We need some more. More of your dancing. Give us some more. We need some more. We need some more. We need some more. We need some more. This is what we call our way. I remember when I was young, love and music was something I yearned. Needless me to say, that was the music of the day. They used to play a nice melody in G, but that was the sweetest thing for me. And when the song of the banjo hit the air, that was all the people want to hear. Listen to the sound of the banjo, an emulation of Deepwood Moses. Played by God. Move your feet, move your waist. Sweet, sweet music in the place. You can't stand up like a yo-yo. You got to let your body go. Take a grind, take a wine. Don't waste this precious time. What will happen tomorrow? None of us don't really know. You hear banjo? I remember those glory years. Love when music was met with great cheers. No one can deny that the standard was very high. And when you hear Christmas time comes around, look out for your name in the sound. With all them women singing, party time, all are we dancing. Yeah, Quattro. Move your feet, move your waist. Sweet, sweet music in the place. You can't stand up like a yo-yo. You got to let your body go. Take a grind, take a wine. Don't waste this precious time. What will happen tomorrow? None of us don't really know. You hear tell a coin. Hunky high. Cecil James. Matthew James. When I did my research, I want to caution my approach. Names like Moses, Feeling Charles, Champion, so much to mention. These men kept the culture and pass it on to us with pleasure. We are soldier, we are Toba, Maracas. There must be something catchy in the song that have me singing along. I feel like I'm out of control. The music hitting up me soul. So rhythmic, so dynamic, simple strings that's so pulsating. Love when music teaser, you can ask for anything sweeter. You hear banjo to keep you in the mood. Move your feet, move your waist, your body, let's feel music in the place. In the can stand up like a yo-yo. In the you got to let your body go. Take a grind, take a wine, take a good grind. Don't waste this precious time. What will happen tomorrow? Love when music, none of us don't really know. Take a grind, take a wine, take a good grind. Don't waste this precious time. What will happen tomorrow? Love when music.
Good night to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. The rest of the Eastern Caribbean, our friends out there in the Grenadine Islands. It is Talking Points on our Friday night forum.
Water of this beautiful island. How we fight so hard to
Well, yeah, I can't help it. I can't help it.
It is amazing how through
My name is Sheldon Scott. I'll be taking you up until the 10 o'clock hour.
day we see most kayaks are involved. From the building of a tomb to the gathering from a room, you hear the sweet sound of the drums and the songs that go on. Anancio, sorry Baba.
I can't help it. I can't help it.
Anancio, sorry Baba. Anancio, sorry Baba. Anancio, sorry Baba. Anancio, sorry Baba.
Saying good night to all of you joining us on the YouTube. Yes, we were about a couple minutes late tonight. I had a hell of an afternoon.
Sisters are the ones who ride the waves.
You all wouldn't believe some of the stuff I had to deal with this afternoon.
Africans.
Let me say a very special thank you to one of our loyal listeners
Hard to pass the culture on, and it fell within the
who
ground.
was able to retrieve my wallet that I lost earlier in the day.
Buffalo and Prince Lawrence, see them
That's just one of the things that happened this afternoon, yeah?
live on. Anancio,
And you know, that's when you know Grenada is a beautiful place. You could lose your wallet and get it back with every cent in it and every card in it. Eh?
Anancio, sorry Baba. Anancio, sorry Baba. Anancio, sorry Baba. Anancio, sorry Baba.
So I just want to again thank that one of my loyal listeners. They're on with us every night. They're one of the silent listeners on with us every night. They made sure that they went and they got my wallet for me. And I want to thank the individual who held on to the wallet for me. Yeah.
Anancio, sorry
Some
Baba.
people that just say, well, we didn't see that.
Anancio, sorry Baba. Anancio, sorry Baba. Anancio, sorry Baba.
So I want to thank the person who held on to it. And I want to thank the young lady who went across and got it for me. Eh? It's just one of those days.
Our ancestors are the ones.
Good night to all the listeners on the Facebook.
Yes, they keep
Good night to you, Zoe.
Africa.
Good night to you, Zayla.
The total and the struggle hard.
Good night to you, Xavier.
And it felt
Good night to you, Adejan, Neela, Namara.
sugar.
My good friends up there in Canada. Ian, I haven't heard you for a while, bro. What's up, bro?
This
I saw Creeper the other day, man.
Anancio, sorry Baba.
Hope everything is all well and okay with you, huh? Nice.
Our ancestors are the ones who ride the waves and brave
Matthew and Patricia out there
captives Africans.
in Alberta, a special good night to you and all the listeners out there in Alberta, Montreal, Ontario.
Fell within the
If you're in Quebec, wherever you are, out there in Canada, we say a special good night to you.
Buffalo and Prince Lawrence. See them again.
Mommy George, yeah.
These names have to live on.
Martin and your lovely wife.
Anancio,
Officer on the other side, you and the lovely lady that always comes across by you and listen there. Special good night to both of you.
So ride the waves and brave the storm. Yes, they came from far as captives, Africans.
They know the Carriacou blood can't hide, you know.
And the street
He must show up sometime or the other.
around.
Especially that Duncan blood, he must show up. He can't hide.
Sugar.
Stan, I'll tell them that Duncan blood does can't hide, innit?
See them again.
Uncle Ba! That Duncan blood can't hide at all.
Anancio, Anancio, sorry baba. Anancio, sorry baba. Anancio, sorry baba. Anancio, Anancio, sorry baba. Anancio, sorry baba. Anancio, sorry baba.
Millie Gemlin, good night to both of you. Stacy, good night. I'm just letting numbers build because I think because we started a bit late and we put up this stuff a little late, some folks are not on as they usually on. So I'm just giving them a couple minutes, just about 5 minutes to come on, and then we're going, because we have a lot to go through tonight. It's actually going to take us past the 10 o'clock hour. I'm telling you all now, we are going to go past 10 o'clock tonight. Huh?
The whole crowd just start to sing.
So we've got a lot to discuss.
Take a joy. Taule, taule. And take a joy.
Mrs. Maureen and Mr. Hudson Macville. Good night to you, Richard and Paula. I wonder if Doc are wrong. Good night to Doc too, man.
And take a joy.
They find a circle in the area, man.
Taule, taule. And take a joy. Taule, taule. And take a joy.
Ira, good night to you, cuz. Beverly. That's the last one we're taking, and then we're getting into it. This weekend is the Carriacou String Band Festival, yeah? If you're not in Carriacou, you're not lucky. But you're lucky to be alive, but you're not lucky to be in one of the best places on earth this weekend.
Please help me unfold. What in the drums that has captivated the soul? Is it a ritual that speaks to one and all? It gets you off your feet and dance to the beat. When they play a song to open the ring, the whole of the crowd just start to sing. Ibole ole, boyo, ibole ole. Ibole ole, boyo, ibole ole. Ibole ole, boyo.
Yes, folks, remember to tell your friends, tell your family. Talking Points is on. Remember to like and share. Internet moving kind of sticky tonight. Folks, are some of you having problems with the YouTube? Let me know in the comments. Just let me know.
I just can't control my emotion.
Yes, Sky, I'll try my very best to be a little more careful. That was a very unusual slip up, but it happens to the best of us.
I am a guy, I'm a Ibole. I am a.
Sorry, I don't carry anything incriminating on me. Eh?
I am a. I am a guy, I'm a Ibole. I am a.
I find the internet is a bit sticky tonight, so I just want to make sure everyone is seeing us and hearing us okay.
Still in question is my reaction. I cannot break away from this illusion. Maybe the spirit is what causing it. Captivate your soul with a beat that sounds so sweet. When the people make the final request, I have to tell you I'm most impressed with my own native land. In 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 my own native land.
make me want to take the ring there. You know? Yes, folks, PD4 Village Group of the St. David's branch of the New National Party, they are having their pre-Mother's Day charity drive and breakfast event that's taking place on Saturday, May the 11th, 2024 at Volley Gap by Paul's Shop in Windsor Forest, St. David's. Don't miss out on this scrumptious event. Plenty eats and drinks on sale. Come on out. Let's make this a success. And the price of the goodies on sale, only $20. And make sure you go earlier because some people say they went up there by the time they reach up for the barbecue last month and they think done, you know. Yeah, they say by the time they reach up and they look to go there. So when you hear things taking place with PD4 Village Group up there in St. David, make sure you go on out early. So put that one down in your calendar. It's taking place on Saturday, 11th of May 2024 at Volley Gap by Paul's Shop. And I didn't see a starting time though. Yeah, that's one of the things, folks. Send that one to me and let me know what time the event is starting. All right, folks, and it is the Friday Night Forum. You know how we do it. We take your phone calls. We're going to be speaking on different issues and so on. I think I've passed the magic number, so I'm going to go past that. Good night to the listeners out there in North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas. Hey, good night to you all. Those of you listening out there in Maryland, those of you in Washington, D.C., New York, whichever part of New York you're in, whether you're over in Manhattan or you're in Brooklyn or you're in the Bronx or you're in Queens, wherever you are in New York, we say a special good night to you. Florida, we say a special good night to you. Florida and Grenada and Florida in the United States, right? Those of you listening out there in California, those of you listening in Arizona, whichever part of the United States you are, we say a very special good night to you. Those of you listening in the UK, Africa, yeah, we have Grenadians in Africa who listen to this program on a nightly basis. We also have some Africans that have been trying to hack, one, into our WhatsApp, and two, they actually been trying to hack into our Facebook page. Yeah, some people from, Ghana or Nigeria trying to just, settle it down which one it is actually. You have been trying to hack into our Facebook page. So no, it's not Grenadians. Some people over there that trying to get into it to try and see if they could con people and all kind of thing, yeah? So, folks, unless you hear my voice and you ask questions, even if you hear my voice, because I'll tell you something, artificial intelligence is to the point right now that there's software that I can use and call you and sound as somebody else. No, I could actually do it. Through the laptop, I can make a call to you direct or on WhatsApp, and the voice that you'll be hearing is the voice of somebody else. All you have to do is get a sampling of that voice. So be very careful. That's why when people call, I usually ask something that either me and that person alone will know. Yeah? Or something that isn't common knowledge, that somebody who's just listening to the program somewhere out there and trying to hack would know. Yeah? So I ask certain questions to get clarity. Right? Nice. 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. Those are the numbers for you to get onto the inside of tonight's program.
Out of the time, had the shout of command, flick up the feet and your hands, flick up your hands. You move to your partner gracefully, embrace each other when you set them free. Keep making the move, get your partner in the groove, This dance is an act with many drills. That is Carriacou quadrilles. Up and down, gentlemen.
Also, let me let you all know from 7 a.m. tomorrow, the St. Mark constituency branch, they are having a breakfast sale. They're going to have fried bakes, coconut bakes, fried cuckoo, fried plantain, fried jacks, fried fish, fried chicken, saltfish sauce, smoked herring, cocoa tea, $2 Tanya log. They have bush tea, all sorts of things. You could get a combination of things for $15. St. Mark's constituency branch, I need you all to tell me one thing, the location. Yeah, I have the activity. I have the activity, the time, what's on sale, but I don't have the location. But that's taking place tomorrow. Dr. the Honorable Clarice Modest, I know that you're listening. Either message me or give me a call. Let us know exactly where that breakfast is taking place. Yeah, we need to know where the breakfast is taking place. I mean, people like me, even though it's a bus I might have to take, I ain't mind jumping a bus and come up and support my lovely people up there in Sunset City, you know, yeah. also believe the Steel Pan Association, they're having an activity this weekend. The details. Brian, any of you that might be listening, send me the details in relation to the pan activity that's taking place this weekend.
In sync, don't squint, just
Because I want to try and actually attend myself if I can.
coordination.
It's Steel Pan, I must support the culture.
Just make 3 steps one way, then pause. And look at your partner, see what he does. Mama sent in the pond for water. A little boy come shake up Shilala. I wanna go tell the mama. A little boy come shake up Shilala.
Folks, I'm not going to go much into the Electronic Communications Act tonight, and I'll tell you why. I've been putting quite a bit of information together in relation to that, so I want to be very careful. When I start on it, I want to be able to go deep into it, but I'll play one thing for you out of it. Let me see if I can find that here. I'll play one thing in relation to the Electronic Communications Act. As I told you, they went to the Senate today and they passed the bill, and I'm trying to figure out why did they have to run with undue haste to pass this bill. Yeah? The bill was being drafted for several years, even before the National Democratic Congress came into office. There are aspects of the bill that needed to be discussed with the Grenadian people before they went to Parliament with it. That has not been done. In fact, from various sources I'm hearing on the back end now, they want to try to inform people of different aspects of the bill. So after you go in Parliament and you pass it, now your press secretary and others are attempting to reach out to the media fraternity, attempting to reach out to service providers, etc., to have a discussion on the bill. No, you're doing things before behind. What you ought to have done is have that discussion before you all went to Parliament with the bill. But no, they decide to do the thing, as I say, before behind. So I do not know what is the undue haste, why they had to rush to Parliament today. Imagine yesterday, you had the House of Representatives discussing a piece of legislation. Today you had the Senate. The only time under the New National Party I saw anything similar, and I don't think it was one today, one the next day. I think they had 2 or 3 days in between. The only time I saw that sort of thing was if Grenada, for instance, the European Union put in place a new law, and they said to Grenada that by this date, and they may call you this week and they say by next week Friday, you have to put a law in place that says this, or we are going to blacklist your financial institutions, which would mean problems for the commercial banks, the credit unions, the money lending agencies like, what the name again? I don't think Fast Cash exists again, but the other money lending organization and so on, whatever its name, Axel Finance, and companies like MoneyGram. Yeah, MoneyGram and Western Union. So the European Union would say something to Grenada like, you've got to put this law in place and you've got to do it by, let's say, next week Friday. If you do not put that in place by next week Friday, you would find that you have a problem where they are, oh, why is this doing that now? Yeah, okay, all right, yeah. Go your way now. Right, nice. Get off my page. Nice. Yeah. They would say to you that you've got to do it by a particular time. So you got to rush then to draft the legislation, which would take a couple days at least, and because you're rushing, and they would give a template. Then you've got to pass that in the House of Representatives, and then you've got to pass it in the Senate, and you may have a specific date that it must be passed by, and the Governor General must sign, and it must be gazetted, and so that's an emergency. So that's an emergency case, in which situation you could end up in a situation where your financial institutions are in danger of losing their corresponding banking, or Grenada would be blacklisted, and as such you would not be able to receive grant funding or loans from different organizations, and the grants that you had on the way or the loans that you had on the way, they could be stalled because you've been blacklisted for something or the other. That has happened several times before. under various governments that the European Union or the US or whoever says you need to pass this and you need to pass it by that date. In the case of this legislation, I am yet to hear an explanation as to what the undue rush and haste was. I am yet to hear that. I heard several things being raised. The Honorable Emlyn Pear she raised the issue of people who are doing broadcasts similar to what I'm doing. Not one person on the government side, and pay particular attention to that, nobody on the government side stood up and said that what she was asking about was not a concern or was not part of the intent of the bill to cover podcast programs like these, where I don't have a license. I am not operating from a radio station. I'm operating from my own miniature studio here. And therefore, what they have passed into law now, when you look at the definitions that are contained in that act, it basically says that what I am doing, I have to go and get a license to do it now. That what Jenny Simon is doing, that she would have to go and get a license to do it. Not worried about Independent Talk and Mr. Pierre's program and so on, because they are operating from a licensed entity. They are going to a studio within the licensed entity, which is Real 91.9, 91.5 FM. So I'm not unduly worried about them because they are already covered. But people like myself, and again, I've said it here before, people like TNR Communications, who does the funerals and so, Richie Olivier and crew, Nazi Benjamin and all of them, the crew that does the funerals all over the country. You see them nearly every day, different parts of the country. You have Brendan Blazer, sharper than a razor. That's all the city say, the whole thing. So Brendan, you have people like Mikey, who does these broadcasts from different locations. According to this legislation, we all are in the same basket and would have to get a license to broadcast. But it is even worse than that. According to the definitions of broadcast and electronic communication, it covers even you using your mobile device and broadcasting to somebody else. So you are calling somebody on a WhatsApp video call or a Facebook video call or even a Zoom. That is considered broadcasting as well, because the definition is so broad that it did not state in any particular part, we exempt the following. There is nothing like that that says we exempt the following. And this legislation can be weaponized against people like myself, against people like Simon Says with Miss Jenny Simon, against people like Mikey and whoever else that they decide that they want to weaponize it against. And I've stated it before, and I'll state it again, because I want them to know from now, prepare the sell, because I am not going and ask them for any license. It ain't happening. I know that the penalty is either or $1 million or 10 years in jail, something like that. I think that's the penalties under the law. Go ahead. You wouldn't be in power for 10 years, and the law would not be in effect for 10 years. I could guarantee you that. Yeah? Careful, some all you end up inside before the people that all you're planning for. Yeah, because some of the things that we're hearing and some of the things that you could prove, some all you might end up that place there, yeah, before other people that all you're planning for. Let me just make that absolutely clear. Nothing to do with any political party deciding that they're going to do that. But if you've breached the law, amen, hallelujah, joy. So your jail closed. Nice? Right, so folks, I wanted to play this for you, and I want to play it in specific because I want you to listen to this report that I saw on the GIS yesterday. I saw this report on the GIS yesterday, and I thought certain language used in it was very interesting. So I'm going to play this one for you, and we're going to discuss part of it.
The Lower House of Parliament has passed the Electronic Communications Bill 2024 that seeks to reform the law relating to telecommunications in contracting states of the Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Authority, ECTEL. During an interview with the Government Information Service on conclusion of Thursday's sitting, Member of Parliament for St. George North East, Honourable Ron Redhead, said the bill seeks to allow a more liberalised and non-discriminatory entry into the electronic communications sector by enabling a robust competitive environment.
It enhances it from what we had as telecommunications by including electronics. So taking care now of the modification in technology that exists today. There are two main changes with this bill that it introduces. The first one, it has to do with the question of the separation of the NTRC from being the agency to monitor and still adjudicate if there is any breach of this law. And secondly, introducing penalties that were never really associated. So you almost had a situation where it was like a toothless tiger. And now you're putting in penalties, which is clearly defined this time around as to what is to be expected. So that is the difference with this whole bill. It's part of a suite of bills that existed prior. Consultations by Prime Minister and leader of government business, as they mentioned, dates back as far back as 2009 in relation to this specific bill. And we are aware of the previous administration doing some work in that regard to get it to a stage. But certainly this is a continuation of a process started a long time ago.
The Electronic Communications Bill 2024, Honourable Redhead says, does not seek to reduce in any way the roles and functions of the National Telecommunications Regulations Commission, NTRC.
There would not be reduced roles. What it would mean is that we are specifying the role of the NTRC now and its purpose and function and giving it more life to be able to fulfill its true mandate. The Commission will have the ambit to determine how measures are going to be enforced. Again, it's going to be somewhat of a consultatory process. So it's not going to be something that is hard and fast. When the law is passed, it's not to say that this shall apply in a strict sense, because it's open to interpretation. In addition to that, you have to deal with a situation where a judgment will have to be handed down. So you can't say that penalty X will be applied because you say 10,000. Sometimes you could use your discretion.
The bill, Honourable Redhead says, received support from both sides of the House and reiterated the point that its main focus is to harmonise how we treat with electronic communications.
Some of the smaller entities in terms of social media and little podcasts and so on, it's not going to directly impact them because they are not dealing with the infrastructure of being licensed. You're not performing a duty that requires you to be licensed, so to speak, and then that will fall on them.
And folks, I want to stop it right there, because if didn't know what they're talking about was a person, you see that person over there? You. If didn't know what they're talking about was a person, that would be that person. Over the years, while I was in Parliament, I always questioned anytime the legal drafters would come with a bill. So they came and they said, okay, we are going with this act or that act or the other. They knew, and the legal drafting unit, the people who are still there, who were around when I was around, could tell you that they could never bring a bill around Sheldon Scott, and he's not going to question, he's not going to ask. He's not just going to take the document that you say, this is the document, this is the explanation, and go and read that. I ain't doing that. I want to understand what is being passed. Yeah? And when you make a statement like this, let me come back a little bit here. When he's speaking about the small entities, in other words, people like myself. Oh, come on, behave yourself thing. Where are you? Yeah, we need to come around here. So
it says received support from both sides of the House and reiterated the point that its main focus is to harmonise how we treat with electronic communications.
Some of the smaller entities in terms of social media and little podcasts and so on, it's not going to directly impact them.
It is not going to directly. What about indirectly? What about indirectly? Because you're either affected or you're not affected. You can be affected directly or you could be affected indirectly. Yeah? When war breaks out in various parts of the world, we are not directly affected, but we are indirectly affected. The price of oil goes up. It affects the price of electricity. It affects the price of all goods and services. It affects the price of transportation. It affects the price of lots of other things. The price of things goes up. We were not directly affected because of a war taking place somewhere, but we were indirectly. So when you make the statement that we are not going to be directly affected, it does not mean that we will not be affected. Yeah? And when you're saying that, try and watch the interviewer in the face and don't try and watch on the side of the...
And communications.
Some of the smaller entities in terms of social media and little podcasts and so on.
No, I say watch the interview or the camera. Don't close your eye and don't watch at the side. Let me take it back again. Let me see if you could fix that now. Try and watch the interviewer. Don't watch past the interviewer. The interviewer is in front, at the side of you, the microphone. You're watching away from them. No, watch the interviewer.
Some of the smaller entities in terms of social media and little podcasts and so on, it's not going to directly impact them because they are not dealing with the infrastructure of being licensed. You're not.
And I disagree because the act is very clear. It's very clear on what broadcasting is. So we are dealing with the infrastructure of broadcasting. We are transmitting video and audio images via an electronic network from one point to another. Under the classifications of broadcast, what we are doing is broadcast. So it's either the honorable don't know what he can't read, or he don't have critical thinking skills. But something had to be wrong because he talking a set of nonsense. Yeah? Right. Let's go to it again.
That requires you to be licensed, so to speak, and then that will fall.
So why you can't watch them when you're saying that they're not going to cover people being licensed, as I said? Sometimes they put things in place and they leave it there for when they're ready to weaponize it against you. In other words, when they're ready to use it to shut you down. So they passed the law. You couldn't stop them. They have the numbers. They have the numbers. They have the amount of people in parliament that they could pass it. And they've passed it today in the Senate as well. So they have the numbers. You couldn't stop them. So they went ahead and they passed it. Whether you like it, you don't like it. Whether you agree with it, you don't agree with it. They went ahead and they passed it. But if don't know what they're talking about was a person, this one should be in the encyclopedia with a picture next to don't know what they're talking about. Just put a picture of this individual there.
Of being licensed. You're not performing a duty that requires you to be licensed, so to speak, and then that will fall under that. So you have to be licensed first and foremost for you to be able to fall under the ambits of this particular legislation.
Members of the upper house will debate the bill.
And let me just say this now as well. He's saying there that the members agreed. The Honorable Peter David raised several issues. The Honorable Emlyn Pierre, the Honorable Dr. Clarice Modest, all of them raised several issues in relation to this bill. None of them were addressed. None of the issues raised. You listen to the parliament sitting when you get a chance. You go and listen over what was said. They did not address the concerns raised by the Honorable Emlyn Pierre in relation to programs like this. The Honorable Clarice Modest also rose and raised issues in relation to programs like this. They did not address them. In fact, none of the concerns raised by the opposition at yesterday's parliament sitting were addressed. They're just blatantly refusing to address. You come and you have concerns about it. Well, that's your business. We are the numbers. We're going to pass it. That's the behavior. That's the attitude. We ain't studying them. They can say what they want. We are the numbers. We're going to pass it. And then you send out like Tweedledee Tweedledum. You send out somebody to come and fall on their own sword. That's what they say, fall on your petard. You fall on your own sword. To come and talk a sort of nonsense about things that you know nothing about. You don't understand about broadcasting. He doesn't know about broadcasting. He don't know what he's talking about. Is the least informed individual to come out and talk about this sort of thing. What does he know about broadcasting? Listen, I could tell you about reel to reel. All you people who know broadcasting know about reel to reel. You know what reel to reel is? They used to have a spool of tape here and another one here. And that's how they used to record stuff from one side coming to the other and reel to reel. I've been involved in media since back in those days. With people like Tallboy in GIS and Ashley Hines. Yeah? Ashley Hines used to use reel to reel together with the vinyl records. And he taping your voiceover onto a cassette. Yeah? Them TDK cassette and so. That's what he taping it onto. So I've been involved in media for a while. I've been involved in media since when you're doing newspapers, you had to put a cardboard cutout and you had to go and type the stories and cut them out. Then you had to send your photographs over to Peter's photo studio. I was the one that used to have to go and carry it for the Barnacle newspaper back in the days. You had to go to Peter's photo studio, carry your photos, and tell them you want it expedited and go back in a few hours to collect your photographs. And then you had to cut out all that you print onto a piece of cardboard, take the photos and place them onto the cardboard in the little slot that you leave for the different stories. That's what they used to do on newspaper. And then you had to take all those cardboard, run down to the airport, find a Liat flight and send it down to Trinidad for them to print for you. And you had to hope that the photo don't fall out from the spot you put it in, because then you ended up with a black spot where a photo used to be. You all used to read the newspapers in the 1990s. You know what used to happen there. Or some photos come out and they're so dark you can't even see who they. I was operating in it back there, so I know when I'm talking about broadcasting, I ain't talking out of the broadness of my mouth. I'm speaking out of having been involved in video broadcasting, audio broadcasting, and newspaper for over 25 years. I've been involved in this. So me ain't just talking, I know what I'm talking about. So the definition that is contained in this act, the definition covers people like me, and it means therefore that people like me could be called upon to get a license. Don't try and feed the Grenadian people that is not true. Don't disrespect the intelligence of the Grenadian people. But as I said, we're going to go much deeper into that. We are going to go much deeper into that during next week. I just touch on it tonight because I wanted you all to understand and hear one of them saying it. Sky, you know about them thing? Yes, I remember having to rush to your tape up thing and you had to run by Peter's photo studio to get your pictures done and run back to the office for them to put it together. And then the boss had to jump in the vehicle and try and make the flight in time to get it down Trinidad for you to get your newspapers up in time. I worked in newspapers back in those days, in Informer newspaper, Barnacle newspaper, etc. I worked in those things, so I know. Yeah? I ain't talking about the digital days. Yes, I work in the digital days too, but I work since back in the analog cut and paste days too. Yeah? Anyway, folks, 440-7377. We're going to take your calls in a while. Folks, I just wanted to raise another issue that came up today, and this one kind of upset me, and I'll tell you why it upset me. I don't like people lie, and I don't like people lie, especially when you have people like me around who know they're lying. Yeah? So when you know for a fact that you're about to lose your Senate seat, don't go there lying like if you're doing something special and you're doing something new. Yes, you, Jonathan Lacrette. When you're about to lose your Senate seat, because remember, last time when Jonathan Lacrette did the press conference back in October last year, and he brought in the PSs and all the heads of department and so on to talk about the wonderful things that were taking place in the Ministry of Health. Wonderful as far as they are concerned. He was concerned. Yeah, I told you all at that point in time, hey, they're going and move that man. He's trying to save himself. He get the message already, they're going and move him. What happened? He get moved. So understand the modus operandi of the individual. When he realized he about to eat an axe, he just try to do like he doing all kind of thing. So you hear he having activity whenever me advertising for him. So me ain't saying when he having activity. But you hear he having activity whenever and all kind of thing. Because he know he eat an axe, handle and all. So he is trying to save himself. So you know you're going, they ask you to go in Canada already. Go. Yeah, don't try and stop it. You have to go in Canada, brother man. Go. Yeah? Nice. Because all that we know already, you know. All that we know that they tell you how to go in Canada. But I want you all to take a couple minutes and just listen to what he had to say here. And he lying, eh? So anyhow, but let me hear what he had to say.
In the Ministry of Youth and Sports, I recognized that we had a national sports policy in train, of which after reviewing, I decided to make some amendments to the policy because we wanted to ensure that the language of the policy is sector related that it remains relevant and on the cutting edge. If someone has to pick up the policy in 2030, that it's flexible enough for them to be able to take the policy up and still drive the agenda of sports. But I recognize that we did not have a national youth policy, and that troubled me, because for me, the youth policy dovetails into the sports policy from a policy perspective. And as a result of that, based on what the Honourable Senator mentioned, and also Senator Andrew Lewis, some of those things as it relates to the training, reskilling, and upskilling of youth from a public speaking perspective will be a part of the National Youth Policy. So we have engaged WIRI, and WIRI is an organization that is involved in youth inclusion and resilience and empowerment, to come up with a draft for us policy as it relates to what our youth policy should look like in Grenada. Of course, we have to furnish them with the preliminary information and data that they're going to need as to where we want to see youth development and youth empowerment in the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, folks, I kind of muted myself there. Let me tell you all something. The statement that Grenada had no national youth policy is a lie, a lie, a lie. I can tell you because I was directly involved back in the early days of reforming the national youth policy. And I can tell you that the state of Grenada had a national youth policy in the year 2003. There was developed for the state of Grenada a national youth policy. That was under the Honorable Emlyn Pierre back in the days there. You had a national youth policy that was developed 2003 into 2004. Then, on returning into office in 2013, one of the things that the Ministry of Youth, which I was in, made sure that we got done was a national youth policy, and this was driven by a woman by the name of Emmeline Selina Pierre. You had other people involved like Mr. Norman Gilbert, Mr. Royden Bihari. Young folks, you all are out there. You all were involved in the process because there were meetings held where young people came in and gave their views. And as of 2015, there was in the state of Grenada a national youth policy. So if the minister don't know, he need to ask a question and stop lying. Because there's no other way for me to describe this other than a blatant lie. Because you're saying that you went into the ministry and you didn't meet a youth policy. I know of two. And at the time of leaving office in 2022, the Ministry of Youth had already started the process. That was under Senator the Honorable Norland Cox, and then the Honorable Kate Skeeter Lewis Peters had started the process of revising the national youth policy. So there was a revision in place when the NDC took office of the national youth policy. But to come and give the Grenadian people the impression that there was never a national youth policy, Senator Lacrette, don't lie. All you must not, you know what? Let me pull it up. All you does lie too much. Let me show you the first one. This document, National Youth Policy of Grenada, October 2003. Yeah? So this is the National Youth Policy, the first one that was developed back in 2003. At that point in time, the Honorable Adrian Spaceman Mitchell, right, back in 2003. So you had a National Youth Policy here that was developed. Of course, 2003 to now is a lot of years. A lot of things have changed in that space of time, and therefore you had to update the National Youth Policy. Yeah? So after 2003, then you had in 2015, and the process started in 2013. You started the process of developing. Maybe Senator Lacrette doesn't know that these documents exist. So Senator Lacrette, if you need help, reach out to one of us now. We go help you because you're gone out there like a dodoi. We go help you, brother. This is the National Youth Policy of the year 2015 to 2020. Why do you think the new National Party was able to do so much for and with young people? The new National Party was able to do so much for and with young people because as a party, They had individuals that were there that were directly involved in the development of the National Youth Policy. So on coming into office in 2013, it took just 3 months to start the new Imani program and taking 2,000 young people. And then on the back end of that, you were still able to take in a further 2,000. So by the end of 1 year, you had 4,000 people under Imani program. It took nearly 2 years for NDC to come boasting about 600 jobs. And they didn't even create 600 jobs, about a little around 300, not even fully 300, working in a call center right now with the possibility, not that they're working yet, with the possibility of a further 300 later in the year. Bravo, congratulations. But don't try and use that to throw at NNP about all you creating job and all kind of thing. You all are a massive failure. Stop the lies. There is no necessity for that. Why should you all stand up? One stand up yesterday, and then is from 22 million, 22.5 million, the thing reached down now to 15 million for independence. Now one stand up talking about there is no national youth policy. All you lie. All you lie, and I'm calling you all out on it. Look the national youth policy. If all you never see it before, look it there. If you want a copy, contact me. I could send a copy of the 2003, the 2015, and I could probably contact Mr. Royden Bihari and see if he has any of the documents and so from the process that had started to put in place an updated national youth policy. Because what you try to do is every 5 years you try to redo a national youth policy. And let me give you all an example. Grenada, the same Grenada that Jonathan Lacrette, they saying, did not have a national youth policy. All the other islands build their national youth policy off a Grenada national youth policy that the present minister of youth saying don't exist. Mr. Man, stop lie. You're getting fired. Just take your fire and go. But don't destroy yourself with this kind of stupidness you're going on with. You lie. Plain and simple. No other way to describe it. You lie. What do you mean there's no national youth policy? What stupidness is this? Let me play it again. Before somebody say I just say anything on him, man. Let me hear him. I show already national youth policy, yeah? So let me hear him. On coming into office, there was no national youth policy. No. The National Democratic Congress had no policy for youth. Just say that for the youth.
It remains relevant and on the cutting edge if someone has to pick up the policy in 2030, that it's flexible enough for them to be able to take the policy up and still drive the agenda of sports. But I recognize that we did not have a national youth policy, and that troubled me because for me,
Mr. Man, if you're the minister and you're clueless as to the fact that there is a policy that directs the work that you're supposed to be doing in the ministry, then I think you should just walk into the Governor General tonight, say I can't handle this thing, and go home and sit down. I don't know if your house is 1.7 million or whatever, one house from GDP, but go home and sit down.
But I recognize that we did not have a national youth policy, and that troubled me because for me, the youth policy dovetails into the sports policy from a policy.
And he went into detail like if they now go in and create a national youth policy and there was never one, you know. He started to go into detail about the going and get these people. Listen, God bless his soul, may he rest in peace. The late Mr. Henry Charles of St. Lucia worked along with the Ministry of Youth in Grenada to ensure that we had a national youth policy. He was the consultant that worked along with Grenada. And let me add, along with him, you had a minister of youth in the person of Mrs. Emmeline Selina Pierre. I'm giving her she full name tonight. Emmeline Selina Pierre. Mr. Royden Bihari, call me. 4407-377. Anybody see Royden, tell Royden call me. Because Royden know about this. Mrs. Emmeline Selina Pierre, the Honorable Member of Parliament for St. Andrew Southeast. She was recruited during the period 2008 to 2013 by the Commonwealth Youth Program. Not by Carriacou Youth Program, you know, by the Commonwealth Youth Program to go to the Turks and Caicos and to help them to develop a youth policy. She offered herself free of cost to work with the then Tillman Thomas administration to work along with the youth. They didn't even answer the letter when she sent a letter to them. But the Commonwealth Youth Program, they contacted her and she was able to work with the Turks and Caicos as a consultant based on the work that Grenada had been doing on youth leading up to 2008. You understand what I'm saying? Mr. Henry Charles, the late Mr. Henry Charles, again, was such a good man. The late Mr. Henry Charles, let me show you something. Let me see if this is Royden calling here. Hello, good night. Hello? Hello, good night. Hello, good night.
Hi, good night to you. How you doing?
Hey, I'm quite fine.
Okay, good.
Royden.
Bihari?
Hey, Royden Bihari.
Hi, good night to you, sir. How you doing?
Man, Royden, I would have swear like something wrong with me, because here it is. We have the minister saying that there was no youth policy. He came into office with no youth policy, Royden. Royden, what happened there?
I guess maybe the minister was misled into saying the wrong things. I would want to believe, but as far as my memory serves me right, actually during my stay at the Division of Youth as coordinator of youth, I was involved in the reshaping and the rebuilding of the second youth development national youth policy for Grenada. The first was in 2003 down there, and the second, actually, we started the second youth policy in 2013. As soon as we got into office, the priority mandate that was given to me was to ensure that we develop a national youth policy for Grenada, which a matter of fact, for the first 6 months, all of our programs were placed on hold so that we can actually work on the national youth policy, and all other programs of the Division of Youth were built to take into consideration what the national youth policy had in it. And the national youth policy, I could vividly remember our very, very first consultation that we did when we actually was working closely to develop the policy. We had about 50 young persons, and we actually was looking at persons in a variety of sectors. We incorporated one young person from youth in agriculture. We had one from youth in small business, one youth in fishing, youth in media, youth in conflict with the law. We had one Imani trainee. We had a young professional. We had one person that was youth with special need. We had one representing the LGBT community, one representing youth in sports, youth in culture, the unattached young people, faith-based organization, community-based organization, youth officers, and youth from St. George's University Business Student Association, as well as the Caribbean Association of Students at St. George's University. And that made up the 50 people, young people, that actually sat on the first consultative phase in early 2013, 2014, when we kickstart that. Apart from that, we had our community youth-based officers going out in the communities and engaging the young people there. We had a listing of questionnaires. So, a matter of fact, our youth policy came and was developed by the young people, for the young people, and it came from the belly of our young people. We didn't just take wiry and say, come and do a youth policy for us to tell us in Grenada what our young people issues are and what they need. No, our vision was to ensure that we engage the young people throughout the length and breadth of Grenada. And that is why our youth policy was not just a standalone document. We went further and developed a strategic action plan which detailed, itemized all of the deliverables that we were looking to achieve in our youth policy. It was broken down in our strategic action plan. How, when, why, who should be involved, which ministries are involved. A matter of fact, I was also leading the interministerial committee. We had representatives from a variety of ministries across government, as well as various departments, who sat and went through and evaluated our youth policy to ensure that the division of youth was keeping in line to what our national youth policy said. So we didn't just talk youth development and talk youth policy. We placed our money, we placed our action, we placed our budget where our mouth were, because we went for the youth, by the youth, and then we ensure that we top up that with the right allocation to implement the national youth policy. So, in case they don't know, maybe I need to at least go a little further to educate my dear friend as Minister for Youth what has been done when it relates to the Department of Youth and our youth policy in Grenada. A matter of fact, at the time of myself exiting from the Ministry of Youth, God bless his soul, deceased Mr. Henry Charles was re-engaged again, working along with us from a communicative and consultative standpoint to actually update the last youth policy that we had existing in Grenada. And that is why the reviewing of the Imani program and all of these things were part of the youth policy. And that is why we actually achieved so much, because everything we did at the Ministry of Youth was actually part of our strategic action plan, and we use that as our guiding light and our guiding principle to achieve and to roll out youth development. A matter of fact, I can give you a listing of countries to whom I provided our youth policy to, as well as our action plan.
Tell them,
when
right?
they realized how well we have been doing. Even at the Carriacou level, we was highly praised for the way in which youth development has been implemented. So I am very surprised. I'm rather appalled to even hear a statement of baseless statement coming out today.
Right then, tell them some of the countries that Grenada was helping to develop their national youth policy based on our national youth policy that the present minister said do exist.
I'm telling you.
Because there are several. In fact, let me pull up something here on the screen for the listeners to see here. This is an article from, and I'm going far back now. This is an article from the year 2011. Yeah, 2011, and it is renewed focus on youth development in Turks and Caicos Islands, and it is dated November 17, 2011. Yeah, and it speaks of Turks and Caicos Islands. A revision of TCI's National Youth Policy and Strategic Plan was launched this week as the Ministry of Education, Sports and Youth Affairs puts renewed focus on youth development. And let me pull this big so people could see, because some folks might have a problem seeing what I'm saying. Yeah, the Department of Youth Affairs, working with the Commonwealth Youth Program, launched the review with a workshop session on Grand Turk on Tuesday, November 15th. Facilitator Mrs. Emmeline Pierre, in explaining the importance of the process, she noted, right, and they went into what she was speaking about and different areas, and there is a lovely picture of Mrs. Emmeline Pierre together with, let me see who she stand up there with, boy. Who them people? Yeah, some of the people from the Ministry of Youth in the Turks and Caicos Islands, and this is dated back to 2011. But when people was never interested, Royden, when they were never interested in youth development, when they were never interested in any sort of development in Grenada, they must make statements like that right now, brother. They must make, because they were never interested. This was never their forte. They were never interested in young people or the development of young people. So when they come now, they must be making stupid statements like it have no national youth policy. But where Laco come out with that?
A matter of fact, Mr. Scott, I could remember, not even looking at the youth policy from where I sit right now. I'm actually close to a bar to take a cool drink, and I could remember the 4 main priority areas for our national youth policy was 1, mainstreaming youth in Grenada's economic development. That was pillar number 1. Pillar number 2 focused on facilitating active youth participation in nation building. Pillar number 3 spoke highly about building youth resilience, strengthening human capital. And the 4th pillar that we looked at in our national youth policy spoke of the professionalization of Grenada's youth work sector and institutionalizing, strengthening, and all of it to ensure that it is highly recognized. These were the 4 main pillars of our national youth policy. So, maybe I'm dreaming for me to be saying all of these things that I have been part of and actually been leading and championing at the Division of Youth. And maybe I'm in a different world. And then from that four major action point, the four pillars, we then prioritized a few short-term action plan that we needed to actually roll out immediately, and that was restructuring and repositioning the youth department, developing youth employment policy, the support for the establishment of our youth councils and so, convening stakeholder and donor forums, partnering with the parenting units at the Ministry of Social Development to develop and adopt an empowerment module into the National Parenting Program. We further went on to speak to roll out the development and launch of the Youth Club Champion of Peace program. Then we evaluated the new Imani program. We developed a youth status report, baseline data on youth cohort, looking at including a youth directory of clubs and programs. And if you're going to the ministry now, they can actually get a copy of our national youth directory, where it was a one-stop shop for every entity, regionally, locally, and internationally. They could have actually came into the ministry, called us, and they could have been provided with a listing of every single youth organization, sports organization, as well as our faith-based organization and our international youth-related organization to make work easier. And then we ended that short-term action plan with the support to establish the Youth Workers Association that we have been working with the Commonwealth, right, to ensure that we roll out a National Youth Workers Association in Grenada. That program was led by Mr. Johnny Calise. We have done several engagements with the Commonwealth Youth Council, and a matter of fact, we have actually gone into advanced stages for the rollout of our National Youth Workers Association. Application was sent out. We completed a number of these. There was an evaluation of the persons who were registered. There was selection of the persons who based on the criteria, and we also had people from the Commonwealth Office who sat on the evaluation panel in the selection of the persons that was going to be the first cohort for the creation of our National Youth Workers Association of Grenada. And that has been all outcome from our strategic action plan, which was hinged solely on the National Youth Policy.
Yes, indeed. And folks, I'm speaking on the line here with Mr. Royden B. Harry Royden. Give them what your official title at the Ministry of Youth was. Give them your official title, sir.
Okay, I was the former coordinator of youth development, and I'm always happy to say that because when I can tell you I was the former coordinator of youth development, I am very happy because I came and I rose up the line as a new Imani trainee, and then I've been through several positions, right? My work spoke for it, and my work provided me with the opportunity to be elevated from an Imani trainee all the way up to being the coordinator of youth development, and I'm very proud of that.
Yes, indeed. And folks, we're speaking a bit here, and right now I'm going to put something up on the screen again so people will see a bit of what was taking place there. And I'm showing some stuff from the late Henry Charles' page, his Facebook page, and it's some of the young people that were actually on the 31st of December 2014. These are some of the young people that were involved in the consultation on the National Youth Policy that was presented in 2015. So these are one of the consultations that were taking place, and you see the faces of the young people that were there. I'm involved in the process. Just to let them know, we ain't just talking. We have evidence of what we're saying. So when a minister goes and he lies to the country in Parliament and tries to give the impression that, hey, we are the ones that are doing this and we are the ones that coming with a national youth policy, that it never had a national youth policy, but where you come out? So where did the money come from? Where did Youth Biz and Project Fly and Empower? All these projects came about because of the National Youth Policy and the interaction with the young people, understanding their needs. This wasn't a set of people just sit down and say, we go in and do a Youth Biz program. It was the young people through interacting with them. So this one is shocking, bro. This one is shocking. Believe me, this one is really shocking. I say I had to call right on that one, man.
And next time, don't take me away from my engagement on a Friday afternoon. I try to actually share as much as I could have remembered coming from my head, but because I have been so involved in the process, I think it stuck with me. I didn't have to go and look for anything to tell you what has been the outcomes of our national youth policy. A matter of fact, today I am still engaging other regional youth directors across the region on our youth policy, even up to this week, as it relates to items and content from our youth policy that they want me to even share, and how we went about doing it during my time and so forth. And I can tell you that don't just come overnight. It comes because people have realized the actual value in our national youth policy, and that is an exemplified document.
All right, my brother. Right, and thank you so much. I don't want to keep you away from your cold ones.
All right, thank you. Thank you, no problem.
Listen,
I can go back to my Friday evening line.
But before you go, though, you said all of that off the top of your head. You have no paper in front of you and so on. You were able to say all of that off the top of your head. Yet still you have a person who is the minister right now, don't even know that a youth policy for Grenada exists. No wonder we can't see a single opportunity created for young people between 2022 and now. Roy, then have a good night.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right, my brother. All right. Yes, indeed, folks. That was just speaking with Mr. Roy Den Bihari, the former coordinator of youth. Let me just share a post here that was posted by Mr. Henry Wallace Charles. And for those of you who have been involved in youth development over the years, you definitely would know Mr. Charles, the late Mr. Charles. And he says here, today I pay respect to Honorable Emlyn Pay. And that was on the 21st of September 2016. The 21st of September 2016, he posted this to his Facebook account. You can go, take the name, you can go to the Facebook account and you can find it for yourself. He says, today I pay respect to Honorable Emlyn Pay. Emlyn is Grenada's former Minister of Youth. She is also a former youth ambassador and community leader. During her stint as Minister of Youth, she worked tirelessly with her team to develop a model youth development structure for Grenada. She was ever mindful of referencing international best practice in all youth development matters. Under her leadership and guidance, Grenada now has a revised national youth policy and the legislative framework for a national youth council and youth ambassadors program. Honorable Emlyn Pay was the only Caribbean Minister of Youth who participated in the first Global Forum on Youth Policies, Baku, Azerbaijan, in 2014, and one of a handful of Caribbean ministers who addressed the 30th anniversary celebration of the World Programme of Action for Youth at the UN in May 2015. Respect. Yeah? And he tagged people like Mr. Norman Gilbert. At least if they had kept Mr. Norman Gilbert in the ministry by now, they might have known that they have a national youth policy. But they decide to spite him, and as such, they remove people who know what they're talking about, and they take all kind of people that don't understand A from B and put them into positions. And you demote Mr. Norman Gilbert and put him on a desk. I don't know if he's doing anything right now in the Ministry of Education, simply because he was elevated. He was elevated under the new National Party. Yeah? These are the kind of things that are taking place in our country, and we just take it as nothing. Yeah. These people lying to our face. They go in the parliament of the country and lying to our face about these things, and we letting them thing pass. Yeah? We letting them thing pass. Folks, the phone lines are open. 440, let me clear the phone line. 440-7377, and we can take your WhatsApp calls as well, although I find the internet kind of spotty, but let's take your WhatsApp calls as well. 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. Those are the numbers for you to get onto the inside tonight. Don't lie for the Grenadian people. In fact, folks, I don't know if you all remember, I was looking for the footage of it. There is footage of it somewhere there. I was looking for the footage of it. Back in 2013, on coming into office, the new National Party decided that they would do not a job fair as such, but they would invite the young people, and that was after planning and strategizing how you're going to bring about a new Imani program, because of course you had a policy that you're working with in relation to youth development. In fact, the New National Party in opposition at the time had met with young people, continued doing what we did in government. We met with young people and engaged them in government. We met with them in opposition. I would know. I was the president of the youth arm during that period of time in up to 2013. There I was the youth arm president. We engaged with the young people. So when you got back into office with somebody the caliber of the Honorable Emlyn Pierre there, you knew what you was about. And then you pulled together a team of people like Mr. Norman Gilbert and Royden Bihari and all the others. You were able to immediately move. So we went up to St. Andrew, and we went up in particular to, I remember we went up to the Grenville bus terminal. It wasn't completed at the point in time. And you went up there with the intention that, and the authorization was that we are going to recruit 2,000 young people for the new Imani program. We went up there, nearly 6,000 turnout. That is my estimation, but it was way more than the 2,000 that we thought would have turned out. All direction you look in Grenville, you're seeing young people walking with a folder going. Yeah? So it ended up way more. Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, then Prime Minister, came up, along with other ministers, came up. And when he entered onto the bus terminal and he see what going on, he said, no. We have to take more. We can't only take the 2,000. We have to take more than that. And at the next cabinet sitting, that was a Saturday, at the next cabinet sitting, the Monday, the decision was made to expand past the 2,000 because there was this volume of young people that were looking for opportunity, and you saw them coming there. You saw them come there, and they were looking for the opportunities, and you had to provide something more for them. And Dr. Mitchell said, no, we go find the money in the budget. We have to do it. We can't leave these young people out there. So, no, you ain't see what happened there? The Honorable Emlyn Pierre, she smiled. She said, Dr. Mitchell, we must do something to help these young people. All ministers that were there at that Grenville bus terminal repeated the same thing. We must do something to help these young. I remember the Honorable Yolande Bay in Oxford. We must do something to help these young people. You see how much young people here? By the busload, they came down. And you were able to get them involved in the new Imani program and have several groups afterwards getting involved. Talking about 600, you only hire 300. Just talking thousands. We're talking about getting young people involved in programs. We're just talking thousands, not 100. Yeah? That was, and you know what they're trying to do now? In the same parliament sitting now, they announced that they're going to do this job fair. And when they're doing it in the month that they're celebrating their 2 years in office. So they want to be able to get young people to get a few photographs, because you know they just walk with the photographer. So they want to be able to walk there with the photographer and get some pictures of the young people interacting with their ministers and so on, because the young people looking for job. Yeah? Looking for jobs. So they go now and they say they're having this job fair, and they're doing it up there right on just a few days before they come up to their 2nd anniversary. Because they want to look now like they're doing something for young people. They recognize, don't think they're stupid enough not to recognize that they have a problem, you know. Because in no way can they match up with the performance of the New National Party in any field, and especially in youth. No way they could match up. 3 months of the New National Party against 2 years at the NDC, and they get in licks upon licks. Check the first year. You had started a stadium. You started fixing playing fields all over the country and so redoing turf, everything. You had the young people under the Imani program. You had young people under Youth Biz and all kind of thing. Going on 2 years, what they have? But you come and stand up in parliament for you to go out and get the work done. You come stand up in parliament lying about there was no national youth policy. What does do all you? All you feel people like me go keep them out quiet? If the people who inform you of that didn't know what they're talking about, they had a right to stay mum or say nothing. But don't lie. We have a caller online. Hello, good night.
Good night, Brother Sheldon. How are
Hi.
you doing?
Quite fine, my brother. Go right ahead.
Yes, I have to chime in there. We're talking about that national youth policy. I have to speak of my personal involvement, not in the policy, but in direct with gentleman Mr. Norman Gilbert, Ryan and Bihari, those persons who was part of the national youth policy and the good things that we were happening for our young people in Grenada. And for people to come around and, I'm very much ashamed of the position taken by the members of the government and the ministry and what they are doing to Mr. Norman Gilbert. Because I can tell you, I was a junior minister in the Ministry of Education.
Mm-hmm.
And this gentleman assisted me. I'm telling you, I was very much marveled. And I very much respect him for the work that he's done. His tenure, the knowledge he knows, the way he go about doing his work, the respect he have for people. Even if he was there for how much years, the respect he had for me and the work we do together. So, they're talking about that youth and they never have a youth policy and whatever. I'm just wondering too. Sometimes I just think that they're really taking Grenada for fun or something Grenada for fun or something like that. But it's just disrespecting Grenadians to come in and make those statements and to knowing that we have people in the country knows that these things there and they come in and just saying that there is none there and this kind. I think they must stop this kind of thing. If we are educated people and we want to go forward, we should look at positive things to carry us forward. And nothing wrong with going into a government and you meet something there that is good, that you shouldn't follow. And we need to do that. As you always say, government is a container. So you have to continue. So if there is things that is good there, continue with it. Whatever you do good will add to your name. But please do not just, it's just like you have to throw it down and then spend money to build up another one again. And probably that's some of the reason why we cannot have enough resources to do other things that we need to do. Because we're trying to do over things that is already there and it's working perfect. So I really had to come in there and comment, on that. And I'm happy that you talk about that in the program today. Because people, especially young people, need to understand what is really happening. And we need to provide them with those information that you are giving tonight and other persons like Ryan and so forth. To open their eyes to let them know that things is happening and these people are probably crazy or they're just spiteful. So,
now I begin
brother, I really appreciate that.
Honestly beginning to lean on the side that some of them need to be medicated. Because I can't understand the level of, come on, man, the level of disrespect to the Grenadian people to think that you could make a statement like that and it would just stay there and go unchallenged. In the parliament of the country, you're lying to the people of Grenada in the parliament of the country. I was able to show not one, but two youth policies. And as Mr. Bihari pointed out, during the period of time that the NDC came to office, the same Mr. Henry Charles had already been contacted and engaged to continue the process of because it's a youth policy. The technology we used 5 years ago, the social media apps we used 5 years ago, they have changed. In some instances, they don't exist again. You have new ones. Things change over time. And as such, you had to change with the time. So a youth policy, every 5 years, you do a development. Remember what happened in 2020? Mm-hmm. In 2020, your focus became totally different because everybody focusing on trying to survive.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so, COVID, it was a matter of if you could stay alive.
Yeah, and some of them doing like it. Anyway, my brother, thank you so very much.
Yes, keep it going, man. But again, as you said, I think they should stop insulting the intelligence of the people of Grenada, and let us work together to bring Grenada forward, piggyback on what is there, and add to it there. As you said, you mentioned that after certain years, you will have to relook at things. Things changing, so you have to look and include what needs to be included.
My brother,
but
it also means
it
also means
blank statements.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I said they have to stop making these blank statements on them because you have to call them blank because you're saying something that, as you said, if you're part of a ministry and you didn't do your research or something wrong, because before you go to make statements like that, you're supposed to do your research, and then to have evidence so that when you go in, whatever you're saying are factual, and then people can lead along with you and assist because we're all here to develop the country. But I think these things really need to be looked at and stopped because it's not doing any of us any good. Yeah, and there's this regarding all the hard work that has done before. I don't think it's a favor or anything good for anybody that has spent and sacrificed the time to do that work for the benefit of the country and for the youth of Grenada.
All right, my brother. Thank you so very much for your call. You do enjoy the
You're
rest
welcome,
of your night.
brother.
All right, wonderful.
Yes, good. Yeah.
Yes, indeed, folks. 440-7377, 347-329-3101. Also, you had in discussion today, yesterday, I realized that at the level of the Senate, they avoided this discussion totally. Folks, the phone lines are open, 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. I realized they kind of duck it today, boy. Yesterday, we had in Parliament, they were discussing the gun amnesty. So that was being discussed yesterday, the gun amnesty. And let me see if I can find some of what was being said in the Parliament yesterday, because I think one of the areas of contention that came up was that the presenter said, and he said so clearly, that there will be no bail. There will be no bail for anybody that is caught with a firearm or ammunition. Now, me personally, I believe that certain people, when, for instance, if there are multiple offenders in relation to something, like, okay, you have an individual who is a rapist and has been raping on multiple occasions. You can't have a person who is accused of 3 or 4 separate rapes, especially violent rapes. Rape is rape. Rape is a violent thing in itself. But to have an individual who has committed several of these walking the streets normally outside because they're on bail, I don't believe in that. I believe that that person, the legal system needs to deny that person bail, but there's a process. You don't put it into law that that person can't get bail. That goes against their constitutional rights, and they can challenge that in the courts. If you put such a law in place, it will be challenged in the courts by any lawyer worth their salt, and that law will be struck down. In other words, you're going to make a law. In Trinidad, they have a big discussion over the years on the Bail Amendment Act and all kind of thing, because same thing, they didn't want to give bail to people who they find with firearms and different things like that. But it goes against the Constitution. For instance, let's say you were trying to reach home from working in one of the hotel sites in the night. You're going up on the eastern coast because the hotel bus, sometimes they drop you at a point and then you have to flag ride and so to go. So you're trying to get home. You flag ride, a vehicle stop, it picks you up. You're getting a ride, The vehicle going up the road now, police roadblock, the police search the vehicle, they find a bullet in the vehicle. They charge the driver and they charge you. The police didn't see you get in that vehicle to get a ride down the road. They don't know even if you say so, if when you came into the vehicle, you the one that dropped the bullet inside there. And we ain't speaking gun, we ain't speaking rifle or shotgun or handgun, we speaking one bullet. So they find one bullet inside of that vehicle. You are charged. You telling me this government gonna say, put a law in place that you can't get bail? Understand what I'm saying here, You're not guilty, You get charged because as far as the police concerned, who in the vehicle is who they're charging. They don't know if you are the person that put the bullet there. They don't know. So they have to let the courts decide that. So they're going to send that to the courts. This government is saying in a situation like that, poor innocent you had to sit down in prison on no bail? Come on, man. Them men had to bounce their head. Something had to wrong with them. What do you mean no bail? It is up to the magistrate or the judge in chambers weighing the information that is placed before them as to whether or not this is a good case that they can give bail, or this person is a flight risk, the person is not a Grenadian, they have access to boat, they have a lot of money, they could go and pay off somebody and they end up on another island, they're gone. This person may have other weapons hiding somewhere, so you can't let them out so that they could become a menace to society or whatever. So you refuse bail in this instance. But bail is a right to anybody that is arrested. I mean, non-bailable, you can't bail them. Nonsense. You could commit treason in the state of Grenada, you had to get bail if you had to get bail. Ask Stanley Charles. You could get bail. So this nonsense about, oh, they're not going to be getting bail. Come on, yeah, for real, yeah, seriously. Let's go into that a little bit.
Is the main reason, Mr. Speaker, for this insertion, for this condition. But we want to be very clear, Mr. Speaker, that after the expiration of this amnesty period, anyone found or held in possession of these illegal weapons shall face mandatory prison sentences with no bail options.
You cannot in any, I mean, maybe in North Korea. Yeah, that's the only country I could think of right now. Maybe in North Korea. That's the only country I could think of that you probably would not get bail. Or maybe there's this other country, Eritrea. They call that the North Korea of Africa. Yeah, so maybe in Eritrea or maybe in North Korea. Those two countries you might not get bail. But you're telling me that here in Grenada, now you haven't placed the opportunity for the person to go before a judge. You haven't placed the opportunity for the person to go before a magistrate, for the magistrate to weigh the thing and realize that, hey, this person can prove that over a period of time they always bomb and ride. The driver is saying that they give this person a ride. If the driver is honest, sometimes the driver try to palm it off on the other person. So they say, well, me know nothing and I give this man a ride and I find the bullet there, so the police charge two of them. Yeah? Driver ain't taking the blame, he trying to escape jail. So two of them end up in jail with no bail. So you telling me that in situations like that, people ain't getting no bail? Once they catch you with a bullet, a gun, anything, is straight jail, no bail, and then mandatory sentencing afterwards? And mandatory means that you can't spend less than 10 years or 15 years or 20 years or something like that? Well, the mandatory sentencing, okay, all right. Go ahead with that. But when it comes to the no bail part, no. No. Because you see, in the initial reading of this bill, they said one thing, and then it has changed and developed into something else since then. Yeah, it has developed into something else. And let's go to the phone line here. Hello, good evening.
Hey, Sheldon, what's up?
Hey, I'm good. Go right ahead, you're live.
This is martial law that's going to pass, bro.
No bail?
Yeah, that's martial law.
So if you accidentally end up in a situation where a firearm is found, let me say you visiting a partner and all you putting down a cook. The police come there and they find a few guns in the partner house that you knew nothing about. You get charged. You mean you are no bail to get, you are to go and sit down in prison until that case call next year or year after, when you are to sit down in prison? These people sicker.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're trying to do something and they have the wrong approach. The way they're doing stuff. With this kind of thing they're passing right now, and say that what will happen, the people who have the gun ain't gonna bring it in. They're keeping it for themselves because they don't give them no type of and the seeds ready to come in with the gun and say, well, okay, all right, we have a gun, let's bring it in, and no repercussion. But the way they're doing it is the wrong approach they're doing it. So I will tell you this. People ain't going to bring me the gun. They're going to hide it. They're going to hide it and keep it, just in case. They have to do better than that, man. That's not how that's not the world country, and they don't the wrong approach the way they're handling things.
No, something definitely has to be wrong.
This kind of martial law thing they want to no, that ain't go work. And on top of that again, with the youth, I mean, I know definitely that the NMP they had real program for the youth, and definitely they had a lot of program for the youth. But sometimes it had to be a little battle. Sometimes why? Is because the youth. The MPs will have some good program for the youth. They had the youth covered. But why it is that the youth turn tail on them? That's what I was kind of bothered. What it is? What happened? What went wrong? What went wrong? I don't know if it was the messaging that in the campaign, all right, or the stunned speech that the Prime Minister gave and the bite. I don't understand, because they had real good program for the youth. They had a lot of good program. So now each and everything that the NMP they wanted, because them in power, they want to take credit for everything that the young people had in place, that the government, that the NMP had in place for the youth. They want to take credit for everything now. And it is saddening. But as I said, I hope that the young people, they open up their eyes and they see what's going on, because they lied to them so many times, and then they and they wake up, because too many lies going down in this NNP. They lie too much, man. The NDC, they lie too much. They lying a lot.
And, like right now, I had to change the name to Lion Laco, you know.
They lie a lot, man. They lie a lot. For our government to be lying with a straight face like that, and thinking, you know, thinking that it's going to, nobody will pay attention. Maybe that's the way they say, hey, Grenada forget think quick. So, you know, even though we tell a lie now, they don't bother that, man. They don't worry about that or forget that. They don't study that. So they keep on lying. That's what it is. That's what it is, you know, because more you lie, and people don't really bother with it, and because they know the election have a long way to go, and by the time the election comes, they forget everything about that. That's their thinking. So
yes, indeed,
it is what it is, man. So you just have to try to enlighten the people as how you does, and keep the program going, you know, and don't take them out on the bonnet at all. Let it, you know, keep on reminding the people of what is happening, the lies and the things that they are telling. You have to keep that going.
Yes, indeed. We'll attempt to do that.
So you think you think they're gonna give you a license, man?
License way. The only license I get from them is when I update my driver's license. That is the only license I get from me. No way. No way I go see that. I ain't even bothering to apply. No way I go see that happen.
So if people don't get license, it's like someone like you, you apply for it, and you have to go through so many red tape in other words to get it, and you don't get it. What will happen? They will shut you down?
Well, let it try. Let them, they may have their intention. Making your intention into action does be a difficult thing sometimes, eh? So they may have their intention, but to actually bring it to fruition and to put it into action, let it try. That's all I had to tell them. Let it try.
Actually,
Yeah.
hey, man, I mean, it's gonna be, yeah, to me, it's gonna be an interested 3 more years. Let me see what happens.
Yes, indeed.
Interesting 3 more years.
Very interesting indeed. All right, my brother.
All right,
Thank you
man.
so
Take
very
care.
much for your call. Have a blessed night.
All
All right.
right.
Yes, indeed. I don't know what's happening with my computer here. It just trip off, come on, trip off, come on. Hey, behave yourself. And I know probably I just something loose there. Yeah. So we're hearing them speaking about the gun amnesty there and basically saying no bail. Let me hear some more what you had to say there.
And this is important, Mr. Speaker, because for far too long our citizens have been crying out and asking the question that somebody found in possession of arms and ammunition, even committing a crime with these weapons, are allowed bail. This condition, Mr. Speaker, of no bail is sending a very strong message to those who believe that they can purchase, use, sale, and have possessions of these illegal weapons. They must now know that if they are found, there will be absolutely no option of bail.
It might be nice to think that you're able to do that, but to actually do that would be illegal. So you might think that, yeah, we could go ahead and we could do that. Try. Go in court and pass the Bail Amendment Act or whatever you want to call it. Go in Parliament and pass it. Pass it, man. You go and pass Bail Amendment or whatever you want to call it. Go there. Yeah, and you go find out. You go find out. Yeah, let me hear. I think they are the next one speaking on that. I wonder if it's that this one was speaking on. Let me hear some from the Senate. Not this Senate sitting today, but the Senate sitting before. So let's hear the Attorney General herself.
Amnesty, persons found, and this is important, persons found with illegal firearms and ammunition will face mandatory prison sentences with no bail options. Because we have to keep our country safe for all of us. So,
while keeping the country safe, you cannot trample on people's democratic rights. You could claim you're keeping the country as safe as you want, but you cannot trample on people's rights to say that you're keeping the country safe. Anytime you get to that stage that you start to trample on people's rights saying you keeping the country safe, you overreach. They do things which they should not do, which they know they should not do, and they do it in the name of, as far as they are concerned, keeping the country safe. Wars have been fought, atrocities have taken place, genocide has taken place, war crimes have taken place, all because people in power in certain places thought that they were keeping their country safe. Yeah? They always have that as we keeping our people or our country safe. That might mean you had to kill everybody from the other tribe. That might mean you had to burn down the next 3 villages next to yours because there is a possibility that the people from that may come and attack you. Let's hear some more.
see? And after that, if you are found with an illegal firearm or with illegal ammunition, there will be mandatory prison sentences imposed, and it will be a situation of no bail. So you will not be in a position where your lawyer could go and beg for you. You will not be in a...
So where's the sense of having a legal system if lawyers cannot go and plead a case on behalf of their clients? What is the sense you have a legal system? Well, just cancel the legal system. The police find you with a gun. We're cutting out the part about going to court. Just send them straight to jail then. Because you ain't need a legal system. What's the sense bringing them to court and so after you charge them if they can't have a lawyer that's going to plead a case for them? What if it's a situation like I explained? What if you go lineman by a partner, you don't know the man have illegal gun in your house? or guns in the house, you go your lineman by him, and the police come, and they find you there, you're spending a weekend by a friend, and they find the guns inside there, you get charged, no bail, mandatory sentencing. No, we can't be in a democratic country with them kind of, and that's the Attorney General talking, you know. All you, that is the Attorney General, that's the person, the legal advisor to the government of Grenada is the person that talking there, you know. That's the person who's supposed to understand law that talking there. That's speaking about breaching your constitutional rights. Because it could happen to any of us that we end up in a location, unwittingly so, where illegal firearms or ammunition is found. It could be one bullet. It means you will have to sit down in prison without bail for the next year, year and a half or something like that. That is unfair. Not only unfair, that is madness. It had to be psychotic people that want to put something in that.
Where a lawyer can go before a magistrate or a judge and beg for you. You will not be in a position where your lawyer can plead to mitigate your sentence. There will be, you're going to go to jail. Put it this way. You're going to jail if you get caught with a firearm or ammunition after the amnesty expires.
You know, trying to sound tough and talking stupidness is two kind of dangerous things, you know, because they're trying to sound tough as, yeah, we go deal with the situation, we go deal with it, we big and we bad, we go deal with the situation. So you're trying to sound tough, but you're making stupid statements. And as a lawyer, I am not a lawyer, but I've been a drafter of laws, because I've spent time where laws are brought and where they are discussed and all that sort of thing. And even I know, with my limited knowledge of legal practice, that she's talking stupidness. I can tell you that. Let me see. There are other people that talk stupidness too. Let me see if we could find another one. Yeah, we'll always find other people that talk stupidness.
Crime is getting out of hand.
Wait. Will you just say that, brother?
A situation where crime is getting out of hand.
Oh, so he's admitting that crime getting out of hand in Grenada. I thought was a situation that Grenada normal. Folks out in the diaspora, I thought was a situation that Grenada was normal and crime wasn't getting out of hand. But no, the MP can't say that. No, the MP saying, that's what he said yesterday, no, not 2 years ago or 3 years ago. That's the MP for, what is the matter, computer? Come on. Yeah, that is the MP talking just yesterday.
Situation where crime is getting out of hand, in a sense relative to what we are accustomed to. And what we are saying is that as a government and as members of parliament, our role is clearly defined. So let me just allow the member who I know is, through you, Mr. Speaker, an attorney at law, to understand where I think he is mistaking the role. Because he is playing dual role. He is also an attorney at law and sits at the judiciary.
And he's speaking there about the Honorable Peter David, and he is not sensible enough to understand that if you are getting advice from someone who has to go to court and defend these individuals, who knows the inside, outside, around, the top, the bottom, all around the court system, that what you should do is sit down, shut up, listen and take advice. Instead of coming and trying and talk about, oh, because he's a lawyer. He's saying that, yes, because he's a lawyer and he understands what he's talking about. Is why, and we're going to play what he said just now.
So a member of parliament who sits at the legislature. But the role of the member of parliament is to make and create laws. The role of the judiciary, through the judges, etc., is to find their judgments for their cases.
Yeah, we know all of that. Folks, oh dear, I left this on lock. Let's go to the phone line. Hello, good evening. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, yes, you just lower the volume in the back and go right ahead. You're live.
I have a question. I don't know, but I want to be enlightened.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get caught with a firearm now, where you go? Because it seems that it's being said that after the amnesty expire, and you get caught with a firearm, you go into jail. So right now, you know, where you go? You don't go to jail if you get caught with a firearm?
Well, it's jail you're going. Is jail you're going right now if they catch you with a firearm?
Okay.
Up to prison you may go.
Huh?
Is up to prison you may go. I mean, yes, you may get bail according to the situation. A judge would make a determination according to the situation. If it's a case that they find you was robbing a place or with the intent to rob a place and you had a firearm, that is one thing. If you just happen to be in a vehicle that a firearm was found in and the vehicle is not even yours, and you're charged for the firearm because you happen to be in the vehicle at that point in time, that is another case. The judge has to weigh then to find out, is this person really a danger to society? Yeah, they find one bullet inside a vehicle. Is this person really a danger to society? Do we not give this person bail because you find one bullet inside the vehicle?
Well, isn't these bodies independent of each other, the legislative, the executive, and the judicial? And I don't think the legislative part of the body could dictate to the judicial who should be granted bail and who should not be granted bail. So to sit there and say you would not be getting bail and you're going to jail, that's just so misleading.
Brother man, it is a situation where mouth open, word jump out.
Okay,
and I imagine you've heard the Attorney General. This is the chief legal advisor to government. You also have the Prime Minister, who is a lawyer. And this is the nonsense that they're speaking to people. And my friend, they also have a legal drafting unit. So they have several other lawyers that draft the laws for them.
It's all in an act to act tough and to say that they have control. Now I'm even shocked to hear a parliamentary rep saying that basically that we have a crime problem here, when the police and every other government official and minister was saying it's all hype, and members of the opposition was just hyping it up, and we it's under control and there is no crime problem here. So to hear them stand on the floor speaking to the nation saying that here there's a crime problem and this is how tough we're gonna act, and then you hear a member of parliament attempting to lecture a member of the opposition that has been practicing law, maybe for the past 25, 30 years. It's just amazing. Again, this is the same person that said that I have to go back to school because I cannot sit at the table and have a meaningful discussion. So I have to go back to school to get some education so that I could have a discussion at the table. But then you want to walk into the parliament to say, let me break it down to you, to tell you this is what's going on, when that individual in the opposition has a track record of defending quite a number of persons that with firearm charges and even higher charges. So I think they would have some sort of know-how, and they will be best in the better position to give you some best practices. So it's I don't know if it's a case of the blind leading the blind with the 10 members in the government, and to me the arrogance, the ignorance, and the egotistical nonsense, it's hurting us rather than helping us, because you look towards them for some sort of guidance so that we can go through things day in, day out, and then they come and stand there trying to sound all tough and all educated, and even those of us laymen in the street that are not lawyers could see right through it.
Of course. And just a program note here, folks. I am going a bit past 10 o'clock. I'll be going up until about 10 past. So we have roughly about 13 minutes remaining on the program. I'm going to play 2 clips again before I go. But yes, my friend, right now, what they are doing is they're trying to sound tough. So we had the problem under control. So they're finally admitting there's a problem that has to be placed under control. You had shootings taking place, all kind of thing in this country. The Prime Minister take nearly a month before he say a word. Now you have the Member of Parliament for St. George North saying we have a crime problem. I thought we didn't have a crime problem. There was no necessity to talk to the people. I didn't realize we had one. Anyway, my brother,
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, what they should be really doing is engaging the police and keeping the police, taking the politics out of the police force, engaging the police, keeping them motivated, helping them do the work. Just this evening, I'm driving through St. George's and I get to that gas station right before the fish house there, and it's a long line of traffic. And I'm like, and Rodney, my son is asking what's going on, and I looked and realized it's like a big fight, and bottles and knives and all of that, right? I'm like, man, no, I can't go back, I can't go forward, and you're just sitting there, you're like a sitting duck, right? And it's like, you can't go up, traffic can't go down, and it's like 2 or 3 busmen all involved in this thing going on there. Finally, I get a squeeze, swing by through the gas station, and I'm like, all right, there must be a police officer in between, anyway from the officials, because, on a Friday night, the bar lower down. Mm-hmm. Nothing. I drive all the way down. There's at least 200-300 persons. Now, traffic going towards Queen's Park is backed up all the way past, going back towards where Andal Supermarket used to be, from by that gas station up there. There's about 200-300 people in the street, I guess it's Friday night and stuff happening, and not one policeman in sight. 4-year-old child is asking, Daddy, where's the police? These are the things that they need to be focused on and working on.
My brother,
so those of us that work hard and pay taxes in this country could feel safe.
Yes, indeed. But brother, I'm going to have to take it there because, time running out on me. We're going to have a longer conversation on this one.
You got it.
All right. Thank you so very much, my bro. Yes, indeed. And folks, I just want to, let me finish play this one for you. Yeah, because you have to hear what they say. It's important to hear what they said. Yeah.
The lawyer has the role to argue whether or not somebody should get bail. But the point is, Mr. Speaker, in crafting the law, our role is not to say we shouldn't give, quote-unquote, a gunman bail because, well, he might have children, well, he may have responsibilities that...
Stupidity, you have to ensure that when you put the law in place, that it is not struck down and then the person walks free. Because if the law is struck down and called unconstitutional, you can't go back and charge the same person again, But then you wouldn't know that because you're not a lawyer. But you want to tell the lawyer you don't know what you're talking about. I ain't even finishing playing you, man. You're just talking a set of nonsense, yeah. Fed up, talking a set of stupidness. Yeah? Let me see if we could find somebody that talking sense here. Yeah, let me find somebody that talks sense. You understand? Yeah, we ain't going and think them thing that we go and find people that talk sense and them kind of thing, you understand? Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, an issue that just arose. We have a separation of powers. And I want to make a comment, and I'm not suggesting any solution after we finish here. The government can clearly pass other legislation. That is within the remit of the government. But for a member of parliament to stand in parliament and indicate when bail will or will not be given is an absolute overreach. It is saying to the judiciary, we in parliament decide when people get bail. I've been practicing 30-something years. Bail is decided by judges and magistrates, in some jurisdictions by JPs. Please refrain from making comments that appear to be intimidating to magistrates and judges. How will a magistrate with a case in front of him or her where they believe bail should be permitted, and a member of parliament sits and says no bail should be granted in these kinds of matters, what does that say to the magistrate or judge? I know the Prime Minister was a practicing attorney, and he should advise. There are attorneys from the Attorney General chambers sitting right behind you, member. Please take advice from them before you make such comments that will ripple through judiciary. We cannot sit here and simply by a pronouncement say no bail to anybody in this, that, or other cases. Bail is granted in law by a magistrate and a judge where they see it as fit and proper.
Yes, indeed, folks. Yeah. You can't just decide that you ain't giving bail in the law itself. No, that has to be up to the judge or the magistrate. These people have to be mad people. And I say that with the most love. But they have to be mad people. You can't be doing that. And yes, the Prime Minister was a lawyer, but the problem with the Prime Minister being a lawyer there is that while the Prime Minister is a lawyer, the Prime Minister was not a lawyer dealing with poor people, children, and them kind of thing. No. If you was a multi-million-dollar company or them kind of thing, that's what he used to deal with. He wasn't dealing with gun case and them kind of thing. Yeah, them kind of case, them kind of thing. So he ain't going to know what a lawyer who deal with them kind of thing. No, he ain't going to know them kind of thing. So, folks, I won't come to the phone line just now. Let me just play one more.
At all to speak on this subject this morning. I think I've communicated myself very clearly before on this particular motion that we're discussing. As a matter of fact, Mr. Speaker, the last sitting when this was brought to the House, I actually supported it. And I supported it based on the presentation that was made by the Honourable Member for St. David's and Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I want to just go back to subsequent presentations that I listened to. And in many cases, the content of the presentations went way beyond the scope of the presentation of the Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, in some cases I was a little bit surprised, shocked, because I felt that what was presented in this House was sufficient to speak to the extent that I spoke on the particular bill that was brought. But, Mr. Speaker, each time I listen to a presentation on this subject, I get even more concerned. I get even more confused. And so I would hope, Mr. Speaker, that at some point later on in this session, that there would be some statement that would be the final statement of the government of Grenada and its intention as it relates to this. We've introduced a new issue this morning, never spoken of, when this bill came to the House. And that concept, that issue, even when it was presented and it was said, fine, no problem, anybody found after with a gun, they would be prosecuted, the law would apply, fine, great. As a matter of fact, I believe that is absolutely in place. But, Mr. Speaker, we are introducing, as my colleague said, something absolutely new this morning, which is that anyone found with a gun after the amnesty will be denied bail. Mr. Speaker, I am going on what I heard. If we want to request the handset of what was said, then let's pause and do that. I'm going on what I heard. There were whispers made after, Mr. Speaker, that this House makes laws. That's also true. We make the laws. So we could say no bail or we could say bail. And people are getting out of hand, Mr. Speaker. As a matter of fact, I noted another comment that was made. Let us go hard or go home. Mr. Speaker, this is serious. Those statements, Mr. Speaker, causes me, and I mean the sucking of the teeth, I guess, means disagreement with what I'm saying. But
in other words, while Honorable Emlyn Pear was speaking there, you had members on the government side stooping, That is the kind of adult behavior that we get from the people that run this country right now. So you're in the House of Parliament. You're discussing a very important issue in relation to gun crime and how you're going to reduce gun crime, but at the same time, not creating another avenue for breaching the constitutional and legal rights of Grenadians. And while that important issue is being discussed by a member of Parliament of exemplary service over the years, people who sit on the other side, who ain't do nothing for this country except raise the salary so far, stoops in. That is the kind of behavior that we have taken place in our Parliament. That is why I'm playing it for you all. I want you all to hear them thing. But they ain't going to set the microphone so we could hear what's going on the other side. And they only want us here.
Mr. Speaker, the point is that we are dealing with people here. And we can just rise and just say anything that comes to our mind. Because it is unconstitutional at this point. What we are proposing, what we are saying. And Mr. Speaker, we are going ahead to assume that any bill that comes to this House will be passed just because we have the majority. Well, what if somebody on the other side disagrees? Mr. Speaker, we can't just treat it so trivial. What was said earlier, Mr. Speaker, gives the impression that everyone found in possession of a gun, with a gun, is a bad man. That's what was said in essence. But, Mr. Speaker, let us consider a good man who gave someone a ride, and that good man is then stopped in traffic, and the police search that good man's van and finds a gun on the back seat, Mr. Speaker. He now becomes in possession of a weapon. Mr. Speaker, exactly. So now we go to court. Exactly. And the court now decides that based on the circumstances, Mr. Speaker, based on the evidence provided, that that person should be granted bail. And that is why I'm appealing to us. Let us not continue on the premise that every person found in possession of a gun is a bad man.
Yes, indeed, folks. Folks, I'm going to take a few calls from you before I leave. I'm going to give you all about roughly 10 minutes again. So I'm going to take your calls right about now. So you had a call, no. I'm going to take your calls for a few minutes again. But I thought it important that you hear some of the presentations, because I know it's very difficult for some people to sit for the entire period of time and listen to all the presentations and indeed the entire presentations. Because a lot of things were said, you know. For instance, a statement was made here. Let me play this one quickly for you all while I wait on the calls.
Not to compensate people for doing wrong. And as such, no incentives will be provided to those in possession of these weapons. In other words, these weapons are not going to be purchased.
But stupidity, the mere fact that you're not arresting the people and they're giving them an opportunity to get rid of the weapon without being charged is an incentive. Stupidity. And I know you're listening because you said you listen every night. So I want you to know that you're talking stupidness. Yeah? Let's take this call and then we'll come back to that. We've got a call on the line. Hello, good night. Hello? 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 Okay, we lost that one. Yeah. It is an incentive to not arrest the individual when they bring an illegal firearm in. That's the incentive. I mean, you're not incentivizing people. We're
not buying these weapons. Neither are we providing any incentives for bad behavior. So we got to get serious, Mr. Speaker. We have to be serious about what we want our society to be.
Folks, let's go back to the phone line. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hello, Senator Scott.
Hey, how are you doing, sir?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
It's a very good program tonight. You understand? And Senator Scott, one thing I want to just pass to you, so to our listeners. Are we going back to the revolution?
But even with the revolution, remember, at least they had rules.
After 1979, we didn't have a constitution. So we was just picking up people and put them in jail. You understand? So are we going back to those type of things? We have to do better than that. We have to find a way. We know it's hard, but we have to find a better way. Okay.
All right.
Have a good one.
All right, my brother. 4407377. You know, like play one quick one again here. I tell all you are going past 10 o'clock tonight, you know, because I know we had a lot to deal with tonight. I wasn't waiting for them to go and deal with them Monday. I deal with them tonight. Yeah? Let me hear the Prime Minister.
Whether you hand it in to the police, whether the police meet you with it, if you do not have a license for it, the police will be required to charge you for illegal possession of a firearm or ammunition. That's the law. The incentive that my friend spoke of, my learned and distinguished friend, as one of our learned and distinguished friends from Carriacou and Petit Martin is often want to say, the learned and distinguished gentleman knows that the incentive is immunity from prosecution.
Oh, but I thought your leader, the business in the house there of government business, just said that they're providing no incentives. No wonder you have to cough when you go in and talk. Yeah, because after Peter David straightened him out in relation to what is really the incentive, when he comes saying, oh, we're not giving any incentive, we'll not provide any incentive. The law itself that's being put in place is an incentive to individuals who have illegal firearms to bring them in. So the Prime Minister is actually correct. But you didn't tell him man that in cabinet. All he didn't meet. All he doesn't have all his secret talk again. Huh? All he doesn't have all his private talk again. What you might decide, the little piece on the side is that he had there, you know, yeah, like when he cough again.
One of our learned and distinguished friends from Carriacou and Petit Martin is often want to say, the learned and distinguished gentleman knows that the incentive is immunity from prosecution.
And you see how you watch Telesword when he do that? Watch again or the Prime Minister go watch long at Telesword when he make that statement. Watch.
Knows that the incentive is immunity.
See it? Right there. What you watch long at him there?
Is immunity from prosecution. That's the incentive.
Basically telling Telesword, boy, why you hush your mouth?
Because as it stands now, even with the best of intent, as he himself said, if one of his clients handed him a firearm and ammunition right now and said to him, my dear friend, please hand this over to the police for me, and he brings it into the police station could charge him right then and there for being in unlawful or illegal possession of a firearm. So the incentive is purely not being prosecuted, not being charged, not being prosecuted, and not being convicted for illegal possession of firearm.
Yeah, but that is not what your leader of government business in the house said. That is not what he said. He said, all you're not giving no incentive. Yeah? So if all you're not getting no incentive, what you mean? One all you? These guys are a riot.
Deem it fitted not to compensate people for doing wrong. And as such, no incentives will be provided to those.
What you mean? No, there is no way. We are just no.
No incentives will be provided to those in possession of these weapons. In other words, these weapons are not going to be purchased. We're not buying these weapons. Neither are we providing any incentives for bad behavior.
Well, I'll go work that one out in cabinet because one all you truly don't understand what you're talking about. One of them don't understand what they're talking about. They're talking a pile of nonsense. Folks, okay, that is it for clips. Let me just take a few phone calls until I wrap it up, right? So it's 10:17. I'll go in a little longer. Right, let's go. Right, phone calls time now. Somebody call me on WhatsApp. Let me see. WhatsApp, yeah, the WhatsApp down there. All right, let me see if we find this person who was trying to reach us on the WhatsApp here. Let me see if we can try and reach them there now. Yeah, we're taking your calls for the next few minutes. And folks, I still haven't gotten the location of the breakfast for St. Mark. The St. David activity starts at, let me see the time there. It starts at 6 a.m. But that's on May 11th, so you have enough time to organize yourself and organize your crew. Okay, I'm not getting that one who tried to call us on the WhatsApp there. Let's try another one. Yeah, let's see if we can get this one. Nice. Yeah, we're calling all the back on the WhatsApp who tried to reach us, man. We might just be lucky, you know. Yeah, might get one all you. All right, and who's calling? Make sure overseas line and local line clear. Nice. We're trying to call all you back there right now. Yeah, we gain all you 1, 2. If we ain't get all you, then we move on to the next one. Nice, right, nice. Yeah, 440-7377-347-329-3101. I think we got this caller 9. Hello, good evening. Hello. Hi, good evening.
Senator Scott.
Hey, sir.
How you going?
I'm quite fine. You go right
I
ahead.
didn't really plan to talk tonight, but really and truly, this program opened my eyes a lot. And thanks a lot for your education. Well, you really educate me to the facts and what's really occurring. This here is, I do not know what constitution is there provided in Grenada, but this is against the principle of law. So I do not know. I mean, you pointed out that the Attorney General will make a statement like that.
Yeah, that's the Attorney General.
What kind of law these people consider? Here in Barbados, we had a similar thing a couple of years ago. The government gave an incentive of $500 and your name wouldn't even been called. Just drop it in and leave. Now, after that, they have had nothing about no bail. How can you? That is unconstitutional, sir. You cannot have that kind of thing. I mean, really and truly speaking, it's really fascinating to see.
Difficult to understand, isn't it?
Man, I mean, I guess I'm on the outside looking in. So my perception might be a little different than the person that is involved in a situation like that. But really and truly, is if you have young people that now coming up and say, "Man, what you can do? You can do this, you can do that." You have to have an incentive there to begin with. And there's a lot of controversy amongst them, as you pointed out. But thank God for Peter David that he has made a very good contribution on that part. And I endorse every aspect that he said, and as he is a lawyer, I mean, really and truly. And also, Sheldon, I must compliment the Honorable Evelyn Pear for her contribution yesterday, considering for the technology advancement law that they want to come to pass or whatever. Because it's a whole heap of confusion to me. Looking in as a layman is really confusing what is not. There's a lot of lies and lies. And the last thing I'm going to tell you, take out the first A out of Laka and you will see what you get. Put in an O instead of the A and you will get the real man. Because a man that is not voted in could say after a fire that how he is the representative. So you got to give him a break for making these kind of stupid statements that he making that he do not know. When at least, Sheldon, that's why I love your program. You come with the facts. Facts. What we talking about. The facts, not fiction. This is a pie in the sky government that these, as I told you previously, are counting down. Because we are no foolish people. This is the year 2024, and people go university and study, school and education, and most of all, having basic common sense. But these are educated people. Oh, by the way, we're not going to school anymore. We're seeing him all the time. I see him here, there, and everywhere. Well, is he in or is he out? Well, I understand it. I thought he was studying, but he seemed like he got more time now that he is studying than when he wasn't. Anyway, good night, Mr. Scott. Have a good day. And hug in your program.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night, sir, and a great weekend.
Same
Relax yourself and prepare for next week. Next week, will be hotter.
Okay, my brother.
Great, man. Great.
Folks, I wonder why I might be able to take one more. And I feel like giving that call to the overseas line if somebody call on the overseas line. Folks, it just continues when we listen to these individuals. And somebody call on the WhatsApp and say, we'll take the WhatsApp. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Good night. Just load the volume. Load the volume in the background first, please. Yes, the volume. Hello. Yeah, the volume in the background is killing us. You need to load the volume in the background. Or take it down. Yes, go right ahead.
Yeah, Sheldon.
Yes, go right ahead.
Yeah. Good night. Good night, Sheldon.
Good night.
And to me, like this politician, them don't educating the youths. They don't educating the youths at all. They're songing like any ordinary people on the street because you asking people to bring gun, you give an amnesty to bring gun. And you're saying so much a wrong thing. How many people on them go make it their mind if they have to? Even though somebody had us to think about, okay, I have a gun. Because remember, Grenada in a country had a revolution. They used to have gun pitching all about the place. So there is a lot of gun outside there. Whether they like it or not. Some of them about the gun, they didn't even go into school yet. They didn't even know what's going on about gun. But you have a lot of gun in this country. Well, you want gun to come in, and then you're talking all kind of crap when you're asking for amnesty. You're giving amnesty for gun and you can't say the right thing. You tell somebody they bring in no, they don't have no sheldon good night because I don't even know how to check them people on them. You saying all kind of no bail and no this and that straight up in the treason and all kind of crap, but you're asking people to bring in gun. That don't make no sense. As the last caller call from Barbados, he was like something like that happening in Barbados. They give people $500. A man go buy a gun for $4,000, $3,000. Fella buy a gun for all kind of money, and they go just take it and give the government free. That don't make no sense. That will never happen. So that thing that they doing there is stupid. Don't bother with that. Nobody will give you up no gun. You will never hear anybody giving up gun. Well, you will never hear that. That won't be nothing. The only time I know people give up gun after the intervention.
And it was
when
paying,
and
they were paying in it.
And they was paying. I could remember my father went and bringing how much gun he had because he was a soldier. And he used to keep guns in a thing like a closet in that way I know about guns. My father had a closet. When them Yankee man come to get gun, they didn't have enough money to give him. Because he had the gun there. Now you're taxing people for amnesty, you're paying for it. People buying gun, going all up in small island and go. Just the other day they had arrest a man for going up in this country and go and get ammunition for a gun. He had a license gun, but he need more ammunition. He go and get locked up up there. We had us to bail him. But you're telling people no. I just find you that gun, you're going straight up, no bail. Tell these guys that them get lost. They don't make no sense.
Caller,
no.
I'm gonna have to cut it there because time to ride.
Oh my God! You know your people go back them up.
Of course they're gonna have their chest
set of people. Go back them up and don't tell them they're talking stupidness. Real stupidness.
My friend,
oh my God, man. I sit down there and I listen that thing that just my blood just run cold.
Oh God.
But anyway, take care, Sheldon.
I must wrap. Thank you so very much. Folks, that is all the time. All the time we have for talking points tonight. Yes, I give you all a half hour actually extra. Folks, so that's all the time we have for talking points tonight. I have got to run. We thank each and every one of you for being with us for this week. And we look forward to next week, more talking points for you. Right? So we're back as normal on Monday. We know there is a holiday during next week. We will endeavor to have the program on the holiday as well. Yeah, we ain't stopping because it's May Day and all that kind of thing. Yeah, come on. We know we name out a call in May Day. May Day is not May Day unless the name call. You understand? All right, so we're looking forward to that. And of course, it's going to be a very, very interesting week next week. We've got several issues that we have to ventilate. We have to talk a bit more about the Electronic Communication Act and one or two other issues. So folks, in everything you say and do it safe and secure. Want to be speaking to and with you and definitely not about you. My name is Sheldon Scott. I'm out of here. Take a little bit of Carriacou string band while I go again, man. I go dance in the background out of the place.
This is what we call love way. I remember when I was young, love and music was something I yearned. Needless to of the banjo in the air. That was all the people want to hear. Listen to the sound of the banjo. An emulation of Deepwood Moses. Played by Carmen. Move your feet, move your waist. Sweet, sweet music in the place. You can't stand up like a yo-yo. You got to let your body go. Take a grind, take a wine. Don't waste this precious time. What will happen tomorrow? None of us don't really know. You hear banjo? I remember those glory years, like when music was met with great cheers. No one can deny that the standard was very high. And when you hear Christmas time comes around, look out for your name in the sound. With all them women singing, party time, all are we dancing. Yeah, Quarto. Move your feet, move your waist. Sweet, sweet music in the place. You can't stand up like a yo-yo. You got to let your body go. Take a grind, take a wine. Don't waste this precious time. What will happen tomorrow? None of us don't really know. You hear tell a coin, Hunky High, Cecil James, Matthew James. That is Baker, and that was all now. There must be something hidden in the vibes that have me hypnotized. I went and I did my research. I want to caution my approach. Names like Moses, Feeling Charles, Champion, so much to mention. These men kept the culture and passed it on to us with pleasure.